It sat, slumped in a cheap plastic chair on the front porch, pumpkin chin resting on straw-stuffed chest.
Go on,
His mother urged.
ring the bell.
He took a few reluctant steps. The Scarecrow's gloved hands dangled at its sides, its flannel-covered wrists tied with twine. His own hands clutched the thin plastic handle of his trick-or-treat bag. He cast a nervous look back at his mother.
I'm right here. Don't forget to say trick or treat.
The Scarecrow's chair was placed close to the door, at an angle. He stood as far away from it as he could and pressed the doorbell. A small, round woman opened the door, her face beaming, a large bowl of candy in her hands. She exclaimed over the tiny person in a cowboy costume who stood on her doorstep, and dropped a generous handful of candy in his open bag. He accepted the offering solemnly, his gaze darting to the Scarecrow. Had it moved? He could swear it had moved. He retreated down the front walk hurriedly, relieved to have escaped, slightly ashamed at his fear. It was only a stupid Scarecrow after all. They walked along the sidewalk, through the fallen leaves fragrant with decay, past a parade of witches and zombies and Harry Potters. He climbed the steps, rang the doorbell. "Trick or treat," he said, the magic words that filled his bag with candy. The plastic handle started to cut into his palm with the weight of it. He was tired and happy, the Scarecrow forgotten, until he saw it again. They were on a street a few blocks from their house, in a cul-de-sac he rarely went to. The porch light was on, shining dully on the pumpkin head slumped on the straw chest. Its hands dangled limply at its sides. "I don't want to," he said, hanging back in fear. His mother rolled her eyes.
It's the last house. Just go.
He started down the walk, his eyes glued to the Scarecrow. He tried to convince himself that it wasn't the same flannel shirt, the same gloves, the same dirty jeans. He rang the bell. It seemed to take forever for them to answer the door. An eternity of time that he stood on the porch with the Scarecrow. Finally they came, the door opening, spilling light and television sounds, friendly faces smiling, candy. Then they closed the door and he turned to leave, deliberately not looking at the Scarecrow. He ran down the front walk to his mother.
See, that wasn't so bad.
She said.
You're such a scaredy cat.
He didn't bother to try to explain. It didn't matter. They were going home. He sorted through his candy at the dining room table, picking out his favorites, eating as much as he was allowed, and saving the rest for later. Finally, his mother made him put on his pajamas and brush his teeth. She tucked him into bed, kissed his forehead.
Good night.
She said.
Don't let the pumpkin head get you.
His eyes widened in alarm. She smiled at him, her mouth stretched into an impossibly wide grin, full of teeth. He heard the rustle of straw.